For some, voting is not the hard part. It may be getting to the polls. And several groups in the area are helping people get there for free. Coming up, we hear from those benefiting from these rides.
Plus, if you're feeling a bit queasy about this election, join the club. We will catch up with voters about the big decision that will affect our next 4 years and beyond.
And elections can impact our mental health. The uncertainty and the possibility of loss can lead to anxiety and depression. We have tips on how to handle that stress.
You're watching Charlottesville's most experienced news team. This is 29 News at 6.
Well, aside from the presidential race, another vote on this November's ballot is choosing your next representative for Congress.
Most of our viewing area in the 5th District, an area that is typically elected a Republican representative. Amaya Mitchell is live outside one of the candidates' election parties with our top story at 6. Good evening, Amaya.
Aaron, Steve, tonight's 5th District race is Republican John McGuire versus Democratic candidate Gloria Witt. Now, the latest campaign numbers show that McGuire has outfunded Witt tremendously by more than $1 million. Whoever wins Virginia's 5th District will be representing a large area of Central Virginia, encompassing as north as Albemarle County and all the way down to the Virginia-North Carolina border to counties like Halifax, Mecklenburg, and Pennsylvania County. The polls close in a little less than an hour in Virginia at 7, and then it's just a waiting game to see what voters decide. Now, I'm at McGuire's election party, and as you can see behind me, they're still working to set up. The doors will open here shortly at 7. You're going to want to stick with us. I'm going to have all the latest for you live tonight. For now, live in Prince Edward County, I'm Amaya Mitchell, 29 News at 6.
Amaya, thank you. Another district we're closely watching is the 7th. Democrat Abigail Spanberger, who's represented that district for 5 years, is giving up her seat to run for governor. Maggie Glass picks up our team coverage tonight in Fredericksburg.
Hey Steve, this highly competitive race between Democrat Eugene Vindman and Republican Derek Anderson is garnering national attention. That's because this seat could decide which party wins the majority in the House of Representatives. Now here's what you need to know about this race. The current representative, Democrat Abigail Spanberger, is giving up her spot to run for governor of Virginia in 2025. She represented the 7th District since 2019, turning the district blue for the first time in nearly 50 years. Regardless of who wins the race, the 7th District will be welcoming a new politician, as Vindman nor Anderson has served in public office before. This district covers Orange, Madison, Greene, and a sliver of Albemarle County. Now I'm inside Vindman's election night party right now, where people are expected to come in around 7. We'll continue to keep you updated as this scene unfolds and as the polling numbers come in. Live in Fredericksburg, Maggie Glass, 29 News at 6.
Thank you, Maggie. And voters in Virginia will also pick who they want to represent them in the U.S. Senate. Democratic Senator Tim Kaine is Virginia's junior U.S. Senator. This is video of Kaine greeting voters this morning in Henrico County. Kaine has held his Senate seat since 2013 and is vying for a 3rd term. He previously served as the 70th governor and 38th lieutenant governor of Virginia. He was also Hillary Clinton's vice presidential candidate in 2016.
Kaine's challenger, Republican Hung Cao, is trying to become the first Republican in Virginia since 2002 to win a seat to the upper chamber. He voted this morning in Ashburn. Cao, a retired U.S. Navy captain who served 25 years in the military. This is his 2nd bid for office. In 2022, he ran to represent Virginia's 10th congressional district, but lost to incumbent Jennifer Wexton.
And a Waynesboro Circuit Court judge has declared the city's Board of Elections must certify the results of the 2024 election. This comes after 2 members of the Waynesboro Board sued the state, saying they could not certify an election using ballot machines and asked to hand count each vote. 5 people in Waynesboro, represented by the national organization Advancement Project, then filed a countersuit.
We believe that this was a message to boards of elections across the Commonwealth that they are there for one job, that the voters, their voices should be heard, the outcomes should not be questioned, that there's integrity in the elections.
In his opinion, Waynesboro Circuit Court Judge Paul Dreyer concluded that the personal beliefs of electoral board members should not derail the election process.
Casting a vote seems simple enough, but for some, getting to their polling place is a challenge. Different groups are helping get people all around our part of Virginia there for free. That includes the Center for Politics at UVA. Kate Nectarline shows us how some of our neighbors are making the most of it.
It's not always easy getting young people to vote. That's where these come in, and they're taking students by the busload to the polls. Students get in on grounds at UVA and are dropped off here at Johnson Elementary to cast their vote, one of several polling places this shuttle is taking young voters.
It's been a fun, high energy, lots of excitement. People are really excited to just get out and vote.
Emily Horn is a fourth year and an intern with the Center for Politics.
We've had probably at times 10 to 12 people on the bus, which it's a tight fit. It's not a big bus. So it's just cool to see how many people knew about this opportunity and are taking advantage of it.
Amelia Vineyard is one of the volunteers who spent Tuesday morning asking students on the street one question.
Hi, are you interested in voting? So it's really important to me that we, have our students vote because we have such amazing, intelligent, kind-hearted citizens in this university. So it's important to me that they vote and have their voices heard.
That includes these 3 second years at UVA voting for the first time.
For me, coming from immigrant parents, like my mom recently got her citizenship, so seeing her go through the whole voting process was really exciting, and that kind of made me feel like I should be also doing the same thing.
Though many young people do not vote, these students say it's essential.
I think that we're almost the generation that matters the most. I think that the times are changing and we're the ones living through a lot of that change, and so if we don't vote, who will?
In the Shenandoah Valley, Bright bus service is also making it easier for people to get to the polls.
We've been grateful to have the opportunity to be able to provide fare-free rides on all Bright routes except for Afton Express to help get people to the poll, kind of just to take down one of those extra barriers that folks could have to getting to the polls.
They will be running these buses until the polls close. In Charlottesville, Kate Nectarline, 29 News.
And if this election has you feeling a bit unsettled, just know that you're not alone. We caught up with voters today to talk about the stress that this election has caused for people of all political parties. Gabby Womack is live in the studio with a look at how people are getting by. Gabby.
Aaron, the last presidential election was during the pandemic. Now people are able to vote in person. Poll workers said they're seeing big turnout. I spoke to voters as they were leaving the polls, and they were feeling mixed emotions.
Hopefully nothing crazy happens in this election, keep our fingers crossed, but with politics today, you never know what can happen.
Oh my gosh, I'm nervous. I'm scared that if things don't go the way it should, this is not just affecting our country, it's affecting the world.
People are casting in their votes to pick a president, and more all across Virginia. Kyle Devin voted in Albemarle County.
Obviously employment is a key factor, but also making sure social issues are really important to me, and making sure you pick the right candidate.
Devin's research and values are what help him determine who to vote for.
Family doesn't sway who I vote for. You don't have to share who you vote for.
Charlottesville voter Julia Qualick based her vote on leadership.
Oh, there's not one thing, there are many things. People have gravitated towards the polls instead of towards the center. So it makes it really difficult even to have conversations in public, even amongst friends and family.
George and Nancy Harder Genesis have been voting in Charlottesville for 12 years. They'll be the first to tell you talking politics is tricky.
Saying some words are just repeated all the time. It's just your eyes are rolling in the back of your head, and that's another issue.
I'm not a conservative. I'm not a liberal. I'm just whatever.
Centrist.
A centrist.
For the first-time voters, it can be confusing.
Try and educate yourself as much as you can. Obviously, today's election day, so time's running out for that. but your vote always matters. Don't feel ashamed either way.
At the polls I visited, there was no security. Live in the newsroom, Gabby Womack, 29 News at 6.
Well, if you haven't voted yet, there is still time to do so. The polls again in Virginia open until 7 this evening. If you're in line at 7 o'clock, you will be able to cast a ballot. You can find your polling locations at elections.virginia.gov. You are not required to bring an ID to vote, but bringing one will speed up the process. If you have an absentee ballot and haven't mailed it yet, you have until 7 tonight to return it in person. And if you're not registered to vote, Virginia has same-day registration. That means you can register to vote at your polling location, then immediately fill out a provisional ballot.
And taking part in Election Day can be quite stressful. One UVA psychologist says it's very common for people to have heightened anxiety during this time. She says focusing too hard on the outcome only makes things worse. The best way to reduce this stress is to stay off of social media and away from the TV screen showing election results. She also says it's important for people to understand that by voting, they did their part and cannot control who wins the election.
Brains are wired to react to uncertainty with anxiety because we want to know what's coming next. And obviously in an election, it's hard to know. You can control your own vote, but we're sort of waiting to find out how everyone else is voting.
And she says other ways to de-stress include going out for a walk in nature or exercising. And download the 29 News app by scanning the QR code at the top of your screen there. You can track live election results as they come in tonight.
We'll also be posting our in-depth coverage of the big races, and you can live stream 29 News if you're away from the TV tonight. Of course, we'll have full election coverage on air throughout the evening. Still to come tonight at 6, Charlottesville is working on a plan to address concerns around pedestrian walkways around the city.
And a bald eagle that was hit by a car has a second chance at life thanks to police officers in Albemarle County. Just ahead, what happened and how the bird is doing.
And some voter-friendly weather on this Election Day 2024. How about the mid and late week? What's in store? We'll check it all out. Your forecast is coming up.
One Charlottesville city councilor says the city is working on a plan to address multiple pedestrian walkways around Charlottesville.
This comes after a woman was killed at the intersection of Elliott Avenue and 2nd Street last month. Jacob Phillips has more.
Thank you. Pedestrian safety in Charlottesville is so critical. It is an emergency.
Kevin Cox is one of many working to help others cross streets safely. He's been petitioning for improvements to the intersection at Elliott Avenue and 2nd Street, where a woman died in October.
We collected close to 1,000 signatures fairly quickly and took them to the city council meeting and asked them to please overrule the acting traffic engineer and install a marked crosswalk.
Cox says the meeting was productive, but the city's answer was unclear as to what would be done.
We got no reaction at all, which is typical for comments made during the public comment session. I went home and emailed them and said, well, are you going to do anything? Please let us know. We'd like to know. And fairly promptly, I got a response that said, yes, we are doing something.
Michael Payne sits on city council.
When the tragic death occurred, she was walking legally in the crosswalk. So you have to create a road where drivers can't disobey the law and be driving fast and not paying attention. And I think that's the big thing we need to do.
The statement from the city says in part staff will be identifying pedestrian safety improvements for Elliott Ave as well as other locations that have been discussed by council and staff. Our goal is to have the list of locations, pedestrian safety improvements, and actions identified before the end of the year.
I 100% understand why people are upset and want to see additional changes, because this is a tragic, unnecessary loss of a community member. City staff and council, take that very, very seriously and are committed to doing what we can to have our pedestrian infrastructure be as safe as possible.
In Charlottesville, Jacob Phillips, 29 News.
And a bald eagle is recovering after it was rescued by Albemarle County Police. It was hit by a truck on Monday and found with a broken wing on Monacan Trail. An animal protection unit officer says it took a lot of focus and team effort to get the big bird to safety.
I said, hey, do we have time for me to go save a bald eagle, jokingly? And she was like, absolutely, go. But managed to come in, and by the time I got there, like I said, it was contained on the side of the road and had gone up an embankment about 20 to 30 feet.
The eagle was sent to the Wildlife Center of Virginia for an extensive checkup, and at last check, it's doing okay.
Now, from the UVA Community Credit Union Weather Center, here is the 29 First Alert forecast.
Here's a look at the nice sunrise this morning captured by Warren Fault in Augusta County. We had some cloudiness, then it thinned out for a good amount of sunshine before more clouds rolled in throughout the course of the day. There's the little eye opener of the sun cresting the mountains and the clouds. Let's take a look at our numbers. Made it up to a high of 75 here on this election day at the airport. Right now 70. Skies are mostly cloudy, southerly winds. Air mass is beginning to moisten up just a bit, and it's been breezy throughout the course of the day, and it'll be breezy again tomorrow. 67 the current number at the Valley Airport in Weir's Cave, touching 73 for the afternoon high. Still at this hour, hour. We've got 70 at the airport, 68 in Louisa, same there in Palmyra, 66 in Waynesboro, 68 currently in Harrisonburg, and 67 in Stanton. So we do have some clouds out there, and there have been a few very light showers down toward Blacksburg, Hillsville, southwestern Virginia. Some of those clouds are still working in our direction, but the air mass overhead is fairly dry, even though it's in the process of moistening up. So for the most part, we are dry tonight with a lot of cloud cover, and with those clouds around, a light southerly wind that'll keep temperatures in the upper 50s to around 60, certainly mild for an overnight in November. Tomorrow will be the peak of the warmth this week, with many of us in the upper 70s to around 80. Now, the record for Charlottesville tomorrow is 83, set back in 1961. That appears to be safe, but it's a very September-like day here for your Wednesday with a mix of sun and clouds, warm and breezy conditions. And that's all ahead of a cold front that'll work in here on Thursday to bring some scattered showers. And temperatures are still mild here on Thursday, and then we'll start to see those temperatures begin to fall a bit as we go into Friday and certainly this weekend. But when we're in the 60s for daytime highs, that's a lot more seasonable for November. High pressures offshore, a return flow out of the south and southwest, allowing again some cloudiness, but also bringing in the warmth. And the main storm system, the actual cold front, is still west of Chicago, but it's a wet go of things. Portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin and Michigan, down toward Illinois and Indiana, western Tennessee and Kentucky, back into portions of Mississippi and Louisiana. And you can see the warmth being driven ahead of the actual front, with temperatures well in the 70s up to the Ohio Valley here this afternoon and evening. Rafael, still a tropical storm, has soaked Jamaica, now working toward the Cayman Islands, will continue toward western Cuba, emerge as a hurricane out in the Gulf of Mexico, and by this weekend will likely make a landfall along the Louisiana coast as a tropical storm. Now, this weekend we'll have a front moving through the Ohio and Mississippi River valleys. Some of this tropical moisture could get linked up with that front, but right now it doesn't look like a whole lot of rain, but our best chance of rain will be on Sunday with maybe some of the heavier amounts west of the mountains. In the short term, in the morning, 50s and 60s, afternoon highs here for your Wednesday afternoon, upper 70s to near 80, warm and breezy. And then here we are on Thursday with, again, a few scattered showers around anywhere from late morning to about sunset there on Thursday. Temperatures tonight, mid-50s to around 60. A look at the Michael and Son 7-day forecast. Peak of the warmth this week, peaking out tomorrow. Temperature making a run near 80, and then those numbers will back off to more seasonable November-like levels, certainly by this weekend. We'll watch Sunday with the next best chance of maybe some beneficial rain. It's been a solid month now since we've had measurable rain. We need it.
All right, Eric, thank you.
And a check of your forecast from the 29 News meteorologist you trust is available at any time on the 29 First Alert Weather app.
Download the app to track radar and get hour-by-hour forecasts and weather alerts. Just open up your camera app and point it toward the QR code on your screen or scan it anytime on our website. Americans may be divided on who they want running the country next, but one restaurant is trying to bring them together using a special menu. Just ahead, we'll take a look at a few Election Day specials on the menu.
AP government students from Waynesboro High School are volunteering at polling sites as part of the Election Day Page program. AP government teacher Meredith Barber says the students are able to direct voters, help answer basic questions, and hand out stickers when voters are done casting their ballot.
As an AP government teacher, I spend quite a bit of time talking about this process and why government is important and how students should be involved in politics. This is a perfect opportunity to show kids how easy it is to be civically engaged and hopefully set them up for a lifetime of wanting to be involved in some way, shape, or form.
She says this is the second year she has had students come out and volunteer at the polls.
One Virginia diner's election-themed menu takes no prisoners, serving up jabs to both sides of the political aisle. Elizabeth Holmes takes us to Midlothian to see what patrons think of these spicy menu items.
I want it all. Something for everybody. It's a hard choice.
Under the retro neon lights in River City Diner, election news playing in the background. These customers aren't concerned about how they'll cast their ballot. Are you all ready? They're too busy choosing
the J.D. Vance Country Fried Steak,
what they want on their plate.
I have something really funny to show you.
It's certainly very humorous on food.
Their Election Day specials.
Got a Trump burger. Okay. This is huge. Sounds like him.
Tim Waltz's breakfast sandwich, never been served. Yeah.
Biden's boozy blackberry lemonade, which is a mouthful for me.
All-American diversity
So I said, let's try it.
Playing on politicians vying for the White House.
It's like a vote.
Is serving up laughs on both sides of the aisle.
I mean, it's witty, you know?
This morning, everybody that came in was really laughing about it and enjoying it.
Even if the list of choices
Coming right up, y'all.
leaves some undecided.
Republican, and that's Democrat. This is the independent right here.
I'd probably order a sample of all of these. And you know what? They'd all be good.
We're still all Americans now.
Some regulars taking the chance.
Do you like the specials?
It's on something new.
It's kind of funny, right?
Unity soup.
It's a pumpkin curry soup. It was really good. I gave it a try.
Guess what?
You gonna give it a try?
Give it a try.
And the results are in.
It's 7 cents.
Good, good.
No matter what meal or president they'll pick, there's one thing everyone in here can agree on.
You all did good, or whoever did very good with writing this up.
It's fabulous, and I took a picture of it and I posted it on Facebook for my friends.
You got diversity, you got choice, okay? It's funny, okay? Hits the funny bone.
It's home cooking, hot dogs, baseball, apple pie.
In Midlothian, I'm Elizabeth Holmes.
Because the one thing that we have in common is that this soil that we stand on here is the best in the world.
All eyes today on the high-stakes race for the White House. Here's a sneak peek at the NBC News election night set, where Lester Holt and Savannah Guthrie will lead coverage, along with Hallie Jackson and Kristen Welker.
More than 100 journalists will work around the clock to bring you comprehensive reporting around the country. Be sure to join NBC News and 29 News live for election night coverage on the ground here in Charlottesville and across the nation tonight, right here on 29 News. And download the 29 News app by scanning the QR code at the top of your screen. You can track live election results as they come in tonight.
We'll also be posting our in-depth coverage of the big races, and you can live stream 29 News if you're away from your TV tonight. Of course, we'll have full election coverage on air throughout the evening.
All right, we're not done with the warmth here for this week. Wednesday will be the warmest day as temperatures peak out in the upper 70s to around 80, 15, 17, 18 degrees above average, more like September. It will be breezy. And then as we get into Thursday, there will be a few scattered showers around, still mild temperatures in the 70s. We'll start to cool down by Friday, more so this weekend, a lot more seasonable after any showers Thursday. Next best chance will arrive on Sunday. We'll continue to watch it.
All right, Eric, thank you.
All right, and there's still some time to head to the polls. Make sure you exercise your right to vote, and we'll see you back here later tonight.